Good morning. Happy Friday. So the void is closed. I certainly had my doubts it would get there, but institutions bought these earnings reports other than Meta got knocked down. But what's left in the bag of tricks to get it any further? I guess we'll have to see what happens today and into next week. But we had this grind up. I had that momentum move and it stopped right on minor support and back up here. Here's the futures, NASDAQ futures, by the way, right into this prior pivot high. So now, and I'm going to look at the monthly chart here since we're going into the end of the month. This is the last trading day. So we'll see where this ends. It's not going to change very much. But we've got the first time where the weekly time frame has moved up to a prior pivot high, which by definition, how we look at it, moves this from a downtrend to a sideways trend. And well, we'll see where it closes here, but I don't think they'll sell it big time today, but that'd be something that we're going to be looking for. Again, assuming this, you can see it's red here for the moment as it's coming off of the open there, where it opened up. This is about 100 points lower. It doesn't look like any big deal, but these ranges are pretty darn big. So one of the things we'll be looking for is to see how far this penetrates down into this bar. And it was, I don't think that's a bad tick. Let's see, yesterday. It backed off a bit from the highs, but it was get rejected up there when it reached it. And that's pretty normal. And then there was this 180 reversal there and up it went. Right? So it's coming down into the void and got these overlapping opens and closes there. Let's see here where that is, which is right at yesterday's open. So we'll see if that holds or not, but it certainly looks like that's where it's going. And when you get to see a wide range bar and then prices come all the way down to the bottom of it, that's never a good sign. You see it kind of happened down here. It poked down to it, but immediately reversed. There's kind of a whipsaw thing going on there, but that was one reversal bar and right back up again. So this looks like it's headed down there, and the 5-minute chart just continues its lower highs, lower lows on its way, which should be the destination. So just way, this closed the void and it's a destination that will kind of like partially close that void on the downside. And that won't give it that big of a red bar. Again, assuming it closes that way. That's all I can do for right now, but we'll see, like I said, what this does and how deep it gets into the body of this, how big of a reversal does it make? For example, over here, that was a very big reversal and obviously was bearish. And that was the high point right there. So I want to look at the Qs since I get the gap and where it was. So it was up there, right at the 100 MA. That's the black line and the prior pivot high. And now, it's just about closing the gap. So I assume there'll be some buyers as it gets down there. Let's scroll this over a bit. I don't know. Well, we'll see if it stops right here. It keeps going. The top of that bar would be some support, but there's really not much here. And, 310 should be a pretty good level, just as a round number. So we'll see if that holds. It wouldn't look so bad. And look, the way this is not going to show the gap up since it's going to open here. And this is how in pre-market data certainly can be helpful because it's going to look like this is going to be opening almost unchanged or a slight gap up. So that close there is 310. So it's got 20 minutes or so to get to 310 if that's going to be in the cards where it would open up unchanged. Hey, Jake, what are you doing over there in YouTube land? All right, so let's look at ES as we do. You can see it backing off from the highs there in the 100 MA. It's coming in. on into this little void area there. You can see it's broken through the pivots. And we'll see how far it comes in. Deep retracement on the weekly time frame. And I don't know if that's quite 80%. Get my little fib thing out here. Sometimes I eyeball it, and it's enough to eyeball it, but that's the only thing I use this thing for, is to measure 80% just to be accurate. And it touched it. It touched it. So again, deep retracement and backing off from where you would expect it to be. So no surprises there. Closing the void. It's in an area of resistance. The 100 is lined up with this congestion there. You can see this is how we look at moving averages, how they relate to other time frames. So that 100, as you can see, is the same as the 20 on the weekly. So as we look at a daily chart and we see a 100 MA, I know the 20 is pointing down on the weekly time frame, and this is about the 10 on the monthly. So I did say I wanted to look at the monthly time frame. I forgot to do it. Let's change that. All right, so that's broken. It's got a decent retracement in there, but just an inside month. So really, you look at the daily time frame, it's like, okay, that's a really good start to potentially having a solid bottom in place. Since you've got all these pivots down here now, and look, it's going to retrace. Even if it went a bit higher, it's going to retrace from here, and it's the factory work. Well, how deep does it retrace? How fast does it retrace? How fast does or give back the gain or the lack thereof? Well, that's just part of the factory work and the analysis as to what happened. So now on the monthly time frame, obviously we begin a new month right here, and so now, can it get a bit higher? Does it turn into what Dan calls a bull sandwich, meaning a red bar over here? So there's the analysis never stops. I mean, in a sense, it stops for the moment where you decide to take a trade, and then you see if it reaches your target and what happens from there. But like we're always reviewing what's happening in multiple time frames and assessing what that means from one time frame to another time frame. So while this is retracing down, you can see there's no pivots here. There's nothing marked as a pivot except for down here because of the way the strength in which it went up. And while that's great while it's going up, it doesn't leave much of any support. And you can see right here these overlapping opens and closes, and that's one of the concepts that we look at is when you see overlapping opens and closes in one time frame, we know that there's some congestion on a higher time frame. So I can scrunch this up and just show you what I mean, which is this little area right here where there was this whip up and down. I got pretty messy scrunching that up. All right. All right. Let's look at this. I'm just curious to look at it because it's just the end of the month. Spiders, without the 24-hour. So inside month, I listen to CNBC I had on before I come on here, and they're saying, oh, what a fabulous month this was. What a great month. Okay. It was certainly better than the damage being done on the way down. But you look at the charts and it's like, all right, it traded inside the other month. It's really not a big deal. Let's see what it can do for an encore or not. So we'll be looking at that certainly as we go into August. And then remember what comes after August, the worst month of the year. So it's an inside month as well on the Qs. It's a deep retracement, retracing that red bar. So that's good. We'll just see how much it can hold on to it since it's up into this resistance now. All right. Diamonds, usually something I do on the weekend, but since it's the end of the month, I wanted to look and get this topping pattern and breakdown and retracement. So no big deal there. Came to this congestion. We'll see what August brings us. And let me get to SPX here. Just got into my curiosity of how things looked here. All right, 407. I'm going to open up a little positive, and maybe it's got this pre-market data here to get through, but maybe it goes. We'll see. That's what we always do. We'll see what happens in the morning, right? Roku's telling me Lawrence is a bloodbath. Well, we have a saying here, as voids close and as internals reach extremes, accidents happen. And it's interesting that this sentiment internal is neutral still after this move. So there's obviously hedging, there's disbelief, and that's a positive, but breadth is up here at an extreme, and the void getting closed, just common sense combination of different concepts or factors suggests that risk for longs is increasing. Okay, so opening up pretty much unchanged. SPX now, since we don't have the data here, we know it's going to be about here. There's a big open interest at 4,100. You definitely want to be on the other side of 4,100. And last I looked, it was premium at above there. Let's see here, 4,150. So again, 4,150, I believe, would be safe, and you've got huge amount of resistance up there. It's got to get through the 100 MA, subjective, but it's in the middle of this congestion. So I think 4,150 should be fine. And if it pops up at the open, maybe be able to go to, 4,155 is 50 by 65. So there was a point in time where that was something that we always would look for. That would be unacceptable, but premiums have come up a bit from way back then. And on the downside, all right, 4,000, below 4,000, 60 by 70. When prices reach a destination, you just don't know how much it'll come down. So we just look at, what's a common sense scenario of how much damage could be done, when under a normal thing. And by normal, I mean, it's just gone up a bunch. It's not a news event now that is going to be surprising and driving it lower in the middle of the day. So TC just zeroed everything out. So I would, if this, you can get premium below 4,000, 410. It should, I don't know, Jake, I'd rather be cautious. You see, there's not much to stop it. So the whole number is not going to get through that. Let me see if this has not been zeroed out. It has. All right. So if it starts heading down with some momentum at the open, I say go below 4,000. And I think that'd be fine, because I don't, think you're going to get a red bar going that deep, but, everything's opinions. That's what we do. Look at charts and come to conclusions with opinions. All right. Looking around other places, the Dow is now negative, but not a big deal. Right? I don't even know how it's negative, but that's what the numbers say. I guess it's poking there a little below the close. It's right there. Now it'll enter the void. And see over here where there was a void, but they came out of the base. So wide range bar out of a base is igniting. And so while this came down in a pretty nasty way, it immediately reversed it. And that is more common to happen coming, igniting out of a base than the second leg up and then going sideways and breaking down. It's less likely to flip right back up again. Right? So that's just historical patterns. And whereas this, as I said, is more likely to get turned around. And you can see the size of that base We were looking at this back at that time, last week, chopping back and forth, and then it ignites out of there. So here you can see this made this big move, and this void again, but created. It's the idea of creating support and opposing pivot highs versus pivot lows, and that just says stay the hell away. Right? Indecision, and then we say the indecision is over. All right. Russell, same up against the 100 there. Let me go back to the weekly over here. You can see the same inside month and pretty good retracement up against that pivot there. And Bitcoin back down. I see Meta on my screen. I'm looking over here, something else. There's something going on there. Yeah, Bitcoin up against the pivot. It's 50 coming in here. So there's going to be some caution, not some, there's caution on the long side here. That's a fact. And you see these currencies down here that they're all red. That means the dollar's going up. Market hasn't liked that. Something we want to keep an eye on next week to see what happens with that dollar. Since it, came off of here, does it flip back up? Does it start coming down in toward this moving average down here and this congestion? You can see the euro, which came off of that low, and now it's just kind of chopping there. So we're always watching things to decipher what's going on. And crude oil, holding up here. We talked about XLE earlier in the week, bottoming out and kind of grinding its way up toward higher levels. And you can see it's gapping up here toward that pivot high as well. So, whatever it is, it reaches its destination, expect to stall. And when they gap like that, and it's been moving that way, it's likely that it's going to get sold into, even if it holds up there for a while, just normal. Interesting, silver, made that pop. The dollar came in a little bit, metals came up, and an igniting bar off of the low. You can see that weekly. That's an impressive when you see a turn like that versus what we're looking, media saying, oh, what a wonderful month it's been. And you look at the chart on in that case, the monthly time frame, it's like somebody needs to tell them to go look at a chart and put their, happy days in perspective. Monthly. Okay, so we got a bottoming tail bar on some support here. It's a start, right? So now as prices reach some resistance area and this wide range bar creates a void and some selling begins, what does it do? Does it go sideways and create new support, bullish price action, come down and start bottoming again? But it's a start. It's a start to maybe these metals finding some legs. Gold, pop up there. And interesting that as soon as the dollar started to weaken a bit, buyers showed up there and took them higher. So if the dollar does flip up and these come down, markets come down a bit. And again, we'll see what happens next month. And lastly, the transports, how did they do? Look great. So a lot of good things here. Starts to creating low points, prices coming up to resistance areas. And now we see how the buyers really want to step up on pullbacks. All right. We'll see how today turns out. To you, Dan. Roku.
What's wrong with your data?
What's that?
I thought you were trying to pull up Roku.
Yeah, well, whatever. Something stalled here. eSignal's been a little quirky lately.
I can give you the service guy's name at TradeStation if you want to switch.
Oh, that program sucks. It's brain damage. You can't even figure out how to take those moving average thing, and I couldn't do it either with you. So that's pretty
Uh,
bad.
Their alarms don't work half the time. All right, so Roku, yeah, Bloodbath, Lawrence, Roku, but this is fitting into the category of possible excessive gap that we might want to sell a zero DTE put spread, provided I get, the buyer step up and show me a, bullish reversal 5-minute chart. The two big elephants in the room today, Amazon, I'm thinking the same. I mean, that's a big old bullish gap. There is no question about it. But I have it in a 5-minute chart, and if I get a setup, I'm going to sell a zero DTE call spread on this over anywhere over these pre-market highs. So those are excessive gaps that I'm looking to fade possibly. And it's amazing. We read headlines, this and that. Apple slowed 12% revenue, whatever decline. Amazon, two losing quarters in a row. Amazon, and look at the stock price. The cover of the Wall Street Journal today. Cover of the Wall Street Journal. Big GDP stoking and inflation fears. Do you think the market cared about that? Do you remember I said yesterday on GDP, who the heck cares? I sure as heck don't. I said, but I'm just curious to see what the market reaction to it would be. And the market reaction was they bought that dip on a recession. So that's why you can't let stupid news cloud the charts. No. This is actually my first losing earnings credit put spread. I sold 36.5 puts on this yesterday. Way down here, so I don't think a gap's going down that far. Guess what? I was wrong. But I have, it's first negative one in like 15 in this earnings season. So I'll just deal with it. I'll tell you on the green room how I manage it if you want. But no, this one I would not fade. It is a gap to support, but this is just damaged goods. What I was thinking of when I saw this gap is I started trading in the 90s. Intel, Cisco, Microsoft, Dell Computer, those were just the rock stars. And Intel has just lost their mojo. NVIDIA, I don't know all the direct competitors, but they are eating their lunch. So no, I wouldn't mess with Intel. I will if I get a pattern, but no, it's not on my list to want to, fade. AMD. This is not a fading type gap on AMD. It's just, gapping down a little bit, and it's a strong stock, but at resistance, there's nothing to do there. All right, BABA, we're getting a nice gift. We are short BABA. And I said cover half pre-market, right at 95 bucks, and it's making new lows here. So stop 30-minute high, and then I'll probably move it to pre-market highs shortly after the open. Let's see what kind of earnings and other things I got over here. JP Morgan I had as a put spread in last weekend's letter, and we never got our credit. It's still lagging XLF. XLF, look, bottoming tail, bullish close. But if it can, Monday get above these highs, I'll do a put spread again. Big Z, I just saw this, a little BlackRock fund going by the ticker. Bottoming pattern, 1, 2, 3. TBLT, it's on my list. It's in here somewhere from yesterday. So Ferg, just put it on a 5-minute chart and keep an eye on in the green room for us. But yeah, it's on my list. This was on my list from yesterday. VeriSign buy setup reversal at the 20. Now, Greg and I were talking that, some of our put spreads got stopped out last week, and, that's after a multiple bar up. And so now we have a gap up from a multiple bar up again. So we got to be really careful of putting on new bullish positions, swings, that is. But this is a beautiful pattern that I would love to get on board if the Qs were not extended. Yeah, hey, FT, another kind of, not contrarian, but just piece of information that I was shocked on Intel's disaster gap is yeah, look how what an incredible difference of relative weakness to the SMHs. That's number one. Number two, the stupid government's pumping a $250 billion into the industry. They're building a new plant in Ohio, and that's not helping them either. Yeah, there's trouble written all over that thing. 5 in here gapping up. So, I gave you all a list of credit spread ideas. So this would be a no-brainer put spread. We'll watch it on a pullback. Let me put that in a window. 5 in looks good. Clack. Oh, and just talking politics again. This Manchin guy, the Republicans were trashing him, saying, "Hey, big guy, I thought you said you weren't voting on no more spending until you see the August inflation data." Oh, well, politics preempts anything that comes out of my mouth. So I think that was just another friggin' sales job, con job. They're trying to push through this before their recess and midterm elections, but that's life. All right, Clack shows it down $6, but I can't believe I'm seeing no prints here. X I have as a put spread idea. I cannot believe these jerks. Sony GTLS. GTLS, I shorted the 140 puts into earnings yesterday. You know what is so weird? I put a bid out of 20 cents to cover this pre-market, and it's not shown on my TOS right now. TOS is still showing 0 by 250. What the hell, man? That's my order. They aren't posting on the book. That I can't explain. All right, Baba, yeah, let's move stop to the pre-market high now, 95.53. But that doesn't make sense to me. I put the order out pre-market, boom, it should be sent the second the market opens. It should be sent to whoever market maker that they TOS does business with, All right, so yeah, that looks fantastic. Baba looks sick. All right, oh, what did I say? Fiven? CC, I put an order out pre-market to sell the 33s. And I guarantee there's gonna be no juice. 70 TE. 33s, yeah. Well, again, something maybe is wrong with my TOS. Because I had an order to, oh no, this actually is my order. Never mind. I'm out there at 60 cents. And the quote is 0/60. All right, my bad on that one. All right, AMD, it's strong, Thomas, but I'm chilling with the market coming in. It's relative strength. I give you that. But the the horsemen in the sector are not with you. So just put it in a window. All right, Amazon, I'm just gonna start shopping to see what the juice bar looks like. Wow, I would have thought it would have been a lot more. The 140s are 9 cents. No interest at all. I've noticed, it's obvious, post split, divided by 10, I get that. But man, they just seem so much more juicier before for some reason. Roku's getting decimated, but um, it's just I'm just looking, not doing this darn thing. This is stepping in front of a falling knife. 59s, 45 cents, but no, I've got no interest to do anything right now. Yep, that's nasty, nasty, nasty gap. And look at a weekly. I think I told you, Greg. I said Roku looks like it's gonna break up or down. I think that thing was tradable either direction.